accompanied by a combo of sitting position formations, created by 5 limited bloodline dragons. Standing behind Guihan VM was extremely tense. Tabin's form now far exceeds Nguyen Thien Than's. He certainly doesn't need his back, but he is the one behind it all. The one who reached the legendary level was him, even though he reached the virtual cave realm and merged twice. The surprise doesn't stop there. Tabin can completely use the golden crow god demon body in fusion form. The golden muscular arm was covered in the yin aura of the small skeleton and the skeleton mist ring created by the hell bamboo dragon beast. The burning dragon's demonic fist fell straight into Guihan VM's protective layer. Without the slightest exception, the old man was startled and looked like he was old again. As soon as he cried out, he saw a golden punch blow away the skin and flesh of the 5 dragon beasts, wanting to let them all out at once. The pressure of the demon Min long fist crushed Guihan VM. He fell to the ground and was massaged on the spot. He put his hands on his fists, tried his best to resist the force that was oppressing him, but still couldn't. His face was pressed to the ground below, and if he didn't surrender for another second, he would definitely be flattened like a shrimp. Please admit defeat so quickly, why not? He shouted, please don't kill me. I surrendered and asked him to hit me lightly. Tabin pulled his fist closer to himself, a bit depressed, and asked, did he admit defeat so quickly? He wanted to try this skill further, wanted to punch this punching bag a little more to get the hang of it. But does Tabin even look back at the ground he just leveled under his feet? He plowed a large area of land down to 30 meters of land. The entire land turned into a desolate, windy desert. Ji Kan Kwa now had his mouth sealed, so he shouted to Mr. VM, Mr. VM, please hear me clearly and answer me. You're lucky to be alive, there are so many things going on. Both Guihan VM's hair and muscular body gradually shrank back to their old form. He coughed a few times and tried to get up, only to see Tabin land right on top of him. After trying his best to remind him, he finally agreed. It was only 1 second and 53 seconds before he could give it his all and try again to communicate. Forget it, sit down and play alone. I have white hair and a white beard, I'm almost here, and then I won't play anymore. I'm so playful and happy that I'll go home in a jar of white ash. I don't know if there's a devil in this world that will accept it. 3 more seconds. The old man coughed a few more times and was able to keep his promise. After losing, accept the bet with him, bow your head and worship Tabin as the new master of Starry Sky, the strongest organization in the Asia continent immediately. Only then will he be satisfied with the fusion state returning to normal. The surrounding people knelt down and chanted his name. From now on he became the leader of the world. Hua Kwang saw how cool he was and was so happy. Now he has become the leader's student, and it's indescribably awesome. The 4 elders of the clan, seeing such a situation, refused to accept it and had to endure it. Now Tin is no longer inferior to Tabin, only those who don't want to live dare to speak out against it. So from then on, the situation of the whole Longjiang city completely changed. In front of the mischievous animal gun shop, early in the morning, there were kilometers of people lined up waiting for their turn. They came to compete with the newspaper that day, reporting 3 very hot news related to his store. The first is to Lang Wei winning the champion position of the Tin An tournament. The second news was that thousands of wild animals attacked the tournament area, causing serious casualties, including the death of player Nhan Bang Wei. Afterwards, the Tin Kong organization repelled this attack. The third news is that Naughty Pet Store has a champion, becoming the place to send and nurture the hottest pets in the city. That's why when Anna and Duong Nhu Yen opened their eyes, they were too busy welcoming customers. There were people who wanted to send pets to be raised, people who needed training, people who needed to buy food, and there were also people who asked for Nhu Yen's street number, but she scolded her and told her to go away. There were too many customers, after cursing the last batch of customers. Only then did Nhu Yen have time to look up and discover Tabin and his close friends walking behind were entering the store. Who wears black like my father? Oh, it's true that he was the one who gave birth to me. Oh father, it's father, Duong Nhu Yen's daughter is here, howling. Duong Long Chen passed by and saw his daughter who had been missing for a long time, laughing and thinking that her father had finally come to save her. And prepare mentally and prepare to hug your father to celebrate the reunion. Unexpectedly, Duong Longchen did not dare to look for long, turned away and quickly continued with the group to the back of the store. He sweated profusely, silently praying to his father and son that he would not call his name in the crowd. Duong Nhu Yen looked at his father doing strange things. What's the point of seeing your daughter missing for a long time and not being happy and excited? What could be the matter with such a serious expression? Even with other races, everyone had the same cautious look on their faces. Thinking and thinking about it, Duong Nhu Yen came up with a very reasonable answer. Surely her father was working together with the elders to fight together to besiege Tabin, at his uncle's hiding place. It's been a long time since Duong Nhu Yen was able to bloom with such joy. The day Tabin dies, that despicable bastard will know what our Duong family's flying army is. From the final match of the Tin An tournament between Nhan Bangwei and Talang Wei, it became a ruined battlefield where Tabin merged with the hell of Truck Long Tu and Tiu Ko Lao, defeating Guihan VM, the master of Tin Kong, who could not return. I float. From then on, he became the owner of Tin Kong and the head of the great families of Longjiang City Base, leading the group of people back to his shop to discuss upcoming major events. Duong Nhu Yen still kept quiet. His father and other homeowners came here today, joining forces to blow Tabin's head off and rescue her, so he was very happy. Customers flocking to the store to choose services of all kinds are warmly welcomed by her, without even opening her mouth to curse anyone. A male customer came and wanted to shake hands with Duong Nhu Yen. He said he was a loyal Toom fan, and she also agreed to shake hands. Today, whoever comes and wants any service, Duong Nhu Yen can freely give it away without needing to receive anything in return. Looking at her cheerful face as if Tet had come, Anna wondered why she was in such a good mood today. What else but Duong Longqian, her father joined forces with other families to negotiate with Tabin. Thinking of the moment he was about to freely fly out of this store, Duong Nhu Yen couldn't help but happily and generously take Anna to escape with him. Both of them are miserable people imprisoned by Tabin. They will definitely escape from this place together. Anna just bowed her head and smiled slightly, neither objecting nor agreeing. Even if she was really imprisoned, she probably wanted to leave this place and hadn't found a way to rescue her family yet. But I've welcomed so many batches of guests, but I've never seen anyone come back, nor have I seen anyone fight. Could it be that Tabin was knocked unconscious, so the clan leaders did not know what to do and remained motionless? It had been a long time since the group had been inside the room, but no one screamed or any impact was heard. Duong Nhu Yen found it strange, decided to tiptoe closer and gently push the door, peeking inside to see what took them so long to talk about. What caught my eye was Tabin standing in the middle of the room wearing a long black cloak. The head of the family, Duong Longqian, bowed his head and asked, I wonder if Boss Tabin is satisfied with this shirt? His attitude was very serious. Behind him were 4 other patriarchs who were solemn and did not say a word. Tabin is wearing black armor, made from extremely rare, hard-to-find level 9 materials, and created by a long-lost method. Currently there is only this shirt in the world. Wearing it can help the wearer skillfully automatically avoid all mental energy, or mental attacks of level 9 or higher. Probing or zone attack skills are also easily removed. Compared to the spirit lamp, this shirt is definitely more convenient. Duong Nhu Yen's eyes looked at what Tabin was wearing in disbelief, because she immediately recognized that it was a family heirloom of the Duong family, only given to the young master of the family when that person took over the task of commanding Duong family. Why did my father give that shirt to Tabin? Not to mention the pile of exquisite golden treasures sparkling on the long table. What's behind Tabin? Those kinds of things are definitely rare and hard to find in the world, so why does everyone here have to show off strangely delicious things to this guy Bin, when they should have gathered around and beaten him to death? Suddenly Guihan VM raised his hand, looked warily towards the door, and seriously asked who was standing outside. His hand summoned spiritual energy into the shape of a hand, opened the door, and easily dragged Duong Nhu Yen, who could not resist at all, into the room. Guihan VM did not know that this was the young master of the Duong family, so he let her fall to the ground, thinking that this was an outsider deliberately eavesdropping on adult matters. While she was trying to get up and not understanding the situation here, she saw Muk Bak Hai and Lu Thien Tun looming behind Guihan VM, radiating an oppressive aura, questioning how she dared to eavesdrop on confidential matters. Those elders surely know why Nhu Yen took To Bin's side. Damn To Bin, Nhu Yen, who was cursing, returned to his comfortable chair. He didn't threaten her or make a heavy face, but just casually told her to go pour tea, just knowing that he was thirsty. By the way, go ahead and pour tea for the people here. With To Bin's words, the old men calmed down and returned to their seats. Nhu Yen did not dare to mess around. He went and brewed a pot of tea and poured it as To Bin obediently wanted, making Guihan VM puzzled and stroke his white beard. Wondering who this girl is, eavesdropping on confidential matters and not being punished by To Bin. Normally, To Bin acts cruelly. Disobeying him is difficult to be forgiven. Not to mention this girl's attitude was as if she had known him for a long time. He wondered if it was because of the treasures brought from the stars and families that could not catch his eye. Accept it, but it's not of great value, so he doesn't pay too much attention and considers it a secret matter. Or is this the maid To Bin trusts the most, so is it okay to let her know? If it's the former then that's fine. The subjective reason from To Bin's side makes the situation a bit more objective. And if later, this girl is To Bin's close maid and Guihan VM catches her and throws her to the floor like that, I'm afraid he will be the first to be executed by To Bin. Thinking of To Bin's different ways of torture, the hand that stroked Guihan VM's beard suddenly trembled, to the point that Nhu Yen was afraid that he was having a fit or something, so he hurriedly asked. Guihan VM leaned closer to Nhu Yen, confused and softly apologized for his rude actions just now. Please don't tell about this to boss To Bin. I will reward you later. Nhu Yen still listens but doesn't understand anything. At first, I thought this was someone invited by my father to join the clans in dealing with To Bin. Looking at the billowing spiritual energy radiating from him, it was easy to guess that this person had reached the upper level of level 9. But now, while talking to her in a cowardly way, he still calls To Bin boss this and boss that. Muk Bak Hai sat next to Long Qian straight and used voice transmission to curse him like water was splashed in the face. What is it like to say that his daughter is missing? The young master of the Duong family went missing and then the girl appeared here again? In the form of a maid for To Bin. His wonderful daughter was by To Bin's side from the beginning. Why didn't she send her to train for training? Long Qian tried to clear his name, saying that Nhu Yen was captured by To Bin, but who sent her to this store to be a maid? Deep Vo Kak sitting on the other side couldn't stand it. He inserted his voice transmission and cursed Long Qian for being an opportunist, and the backpack was mainly for flexing, nothing more. Lu Thien Tun showed a bored expression and also questioned. Your young host clearly has a strange spiritual energy similar to Bin's, and his cultivation has also clearly improved. Dare to say that only a dog would believe it if he was kidnapped. Until now, I have not heard of any kidnappers imparting martial arts and teaching hostages to practice better. It was just a fantasy. Long Qian couldn't get his kidnapped daughter back, and he was scolded and slapped very harshly by the old men. How are these guys? If I brought him here, why the hell would I come personally? Immediately I heard Muk Bak Hai criticize this as his humiliating plan to cover up discovery, nothing more. That's right, it's hidden so well that no one will notice. When Long Qian saw that he couldn't argue, he had no choice but to keep his mouth shut to relieve his body's fatigue. The daughter took advantage of the moment to pour tea for her father and whispered to ask if Phai Vu Quan had arranged things well. When will you take action? Why is one person after another asking Long Qian such confusing questions today? He looked up at his daughter and asked who did it. Hey dad, didn't you save your daughter? You thought I came all the way here to take down To Bin and rescue you? Another girl spreading gossip that doesn't understand anything. Not knowing how to explain it, he just felt a headache. Long Qian suppressed his boredom and decided to tell Nhu Yen directly. Hey daughter, from now on, just obediently work for Boss Bin. Nhu Yen Nhi was waiting to hear the plan of action from her father and the elders. She strained her ears but did not expect to hear her father handing over eggs to evil. She was extremely bewildered, asked what her father meant, only to see the hand on her shoulder tightening, listening to the sad summary story from Duang Long Qian. That the Qin family, the Chao family and my family have all been taken over, and they have all become to Bin's subordinates. Whether or not he will be able to regain sovereignty in the future depends on what Duang Nhu Yen shows in front of his boss. Hey, why are you turning around so quickly? Duang Nhu Yen had not yet understood anything when he heard Muk Bak Hai's excited voice asking from below. Boss, how can you let the Duang family's kid take care of you? Let my kid help. Okay, everyone jumped up right away. Deep Vo Kak immediately boasted that his guy Deep Long Thien had excellent house-sweeping skills and was also the most diligent. Stop it, sir, my grandson Deep Ton Long punched me. The back of the top can dispel the fatigue and difficulties, so that my nephew can come and relax for the boss? What does the back have to do with it? Boss Tabin walks around a lot and definitely needs someone to massage his legs. Let my nephew Muk Transon come over here and do it for him. He also has a certificate of merit certifying his skills. These old guys are really good at taking people from one surprise to another. Tabin had to raise his hand and tell the fathers to stop. They have enough people and enough work to no longer hire them. It's cramped, oh my god, oh my. Each man's expression in general is regret for missing the opportunity to bring someone right under Tabin's nose. It can only be said that Duang Long Qian is upset. He snatches the seat right from the start. At first without letting them know. Unexpectedly, Tabin immediately spoke up, saying that this number was enough for this store. The main store had enough people but the secondary stores had not recruited yet. The old men are bewilderedly thinking, although the mischievous animal hobby store is big and spacious, right now it only has this one. I heard Tabin continue, the amount of land I collected from the families cannot be wasted like that. In the future, I will open branches in those places and let the young owners of the families go there to manage the area. Areas of all kinds. If they achieve the required results, they will be promoted to temporary staff, on par with Duang Nhu Yen. Hey, no one knows the name of that temporary employee, why are you talking about it like that? Before Duang Nhu Yen had time to refute, he heard Tabin calmly continue his words. If he doesn't succeed in his work and still creates factions at work, then the whole family's life will be on the line. You come to work at my branch but hold the entire family's life in your hands. Do you understand? If you understand, then clap your hands. Clapping? Boss Tabin's statement was concise and conveyed the full threat and warning in it. Everyone applauded without daring to say a word. The matter with that person was over and they all left. Tabin was left alone to call the system to meet for a bit. It had been so long and they had missed each other. This time the system will definitely like it very much, because expanding the store range is expanding its own power. The current requirements to open a level 4 store are 300,000 square meters and 10 million energy points. After expansion, the land area of the entire region is 48 million square meters, leaving nearly 20 million energy points. New features of the level 4 store include no limit on the number of pets that customers can bring to consign and raise. And Tabin can teleport from one store to another with just 10,000 energy points. It smelled so good that he agreed to upgrade the system immediately. With the ability to instantly teleport between store branches, even if he opens a new store on Mars in the future, there will be no problem. The system has confirmed his upgrade and successfully deducted energy points. Tonight when the store closes and everyone falls asleep, the store will begin an automatic renovation process. During this time, Tabin can plan ahead to divide the desired areas in the store. Suddenly his hand vibrated twice, a message alert on his watch. He received a letter from someone, informing him that he had discovered something new in the secret place of Long Dai Mountain. It's possible that he will have to make a trip there in the near future to see what the heir to Long Kot Thap has to offer. Tabin went from being a small, powerless pet shop owner overnight to becoming the leader of the stars, receiving the allegiance of the great families. Not only will you be able to pay tribute to rare secret treasures, but large areas of land will also be included in the expanded area of the mischievous pet shop. Aiming to upgrade the store to level 4, in addition to the main store, Bin will have to designate the most appropriate branch areas. On the path to finding strength for the system, Bin himself paid close attention to the fact that the secret realm of Long Dai Mountain had been opened. Last time he passed all 9 floors of Dragon Bone Tower, but had not officially received the title of successor. So now he stands in front of the base map of Longjiang City and Lam Tin to arrange the newly opened areas, and then quickly reach the secret place. New employees are all children of great families, have not signed temporary work contracts like Nhu Yen, so they are currently unable to use functions related to training. Therefore, in new branches, only middle-level training powers can be arranged. If that party receives a pet that needs high-level training, it can be brought back to the main store. That is the biggest difference related to personnel. The remaining areas such as housing, conferences, reception and dining areas are no different. The new branch planning arrangement has been completed. Let the system do the renovation as intended. As for him, he had to go do a few things before he could safely fly to the secret place of Long Thua Dai. Outside the meeting room, Lang Wei and Hua Kuang had been waiting for Bin for a while. The two of them were brought by Anna according to Bin's instructions, while she just stood on the side waiting for orders. Since the earth-shattering battle to conquer the stars and the great clans ended, Bin has been so busy that he only had time to meet these two. As soon as he walked out the door, he asked, "Now I have something to do and have to go away for a few days. Do you two need to go to Hoang Vuch to practice again so I can take you there?" Hua Kuang really wanted to go, but he was busy today so he didn't dare say anything. Now that his master had asked, he happily agreed to go. "Since the last time I went to Hoang Vuch with you, I found that the school's textbooks on combat theory were no longer interesting, so boring." Hearing Bin's praise was a clear improvement. Hua Kuang had to restrain himself to not scream like he always did. Pretending to snort but smiling widely, in addition to the recent elite match that clearly helped Hua Kuang's strength improve, Lang Wei did not show the same excitement as Hua Kuang, but I also want to practice. Because after the recent battle, Lang Wei was shocked to the core, thinking she had trained very hard and fully prepared to stand on her own 2 feet and win a glorious victory. But she has absolutely no such ability. In terms of strength, she is far behind Nyan Bangwei, not to mention falling before True Vo Kuk's power. If his brother hadn't brought him a long dry urine that day, he would definitely have died a humiliating death on the field. He knew that Lang Wei had her own pride and efforts, so that day's incident was like a blow to her, making her become more or less timid. So Bin sincerely advised his sister not to be so self-conscious. The people of Starry Sky originally had many tricks. After all, they controlled the whole Luke A area, which for a very long time was no dreamer. And that final match seemed like an equal competition between the two girls, but Nyan Bangwei was the one who was trained by the stars to suppress the Longjiang city base. So in essence, it is no longer a competition between two individuals, but has become a competition between the forces of both sides. But no matter what Lang Wei says, she cannot go through the hardships that Bin has endured to become what she is today. She is just a little girl sitting in a school chair. How can she fight them on her own? What her brother said made sense. The girl timidly asked again, "If that day she only fought with normal people, do you think I would have a chance of winning?" Of course there is. Below him, only Lang Wei and Hua Kuang received so much training, they couldn't stand in one place forever. Raising his hand to summon 2 items from the space container, Bin brought them forward and gave them to the two of them to use. On one side is a soul-shattering lamp that is effective against mental attacks, on the right is the armor that has followed him for a long time. The original armor told him to give it to his sister, to keep her safe during combat training. In addition to its extremely good defense ability, it also has the ability to increase the user's cultivation and flexibility, very suitable for the immobility flow of the Tang family that she is cultivating. After recovering Dang's soul, he gave it to Hua Kuang. Temporarily, his offense and defense were quite good, but he was probably a purple boy who cried silently at night, so his mental defense was not very good. No matter how long he practiced, he couldn't resist Long Ui on his own, so this soul-strengthening lantern would supplement his shortcomings. Also remind me that treasures are just external objects, we still have to try to practice to improve our own strength. After finishing talking with the two children, Bin turned to Anna and instructed her to bring the high-end pets kept at the branches to the main store for daily training. In addition, you need to pay attention to the work situation of the children and grandchildren who come to work. If someone is lazy, she has the right to punish them, and she is also in charge of running new functions at the branch. Anna nodded immediately. Lately, it seemed like she knew asking him would be fruitless, so she didn't ask him where he wanted to go now. Having finished with the store, Bin took to Langwei and Hua Kuang to Kai Hoang Base No. 7. This was the first place he learned about group actions with people after a long time of living and dying in secret systems. System opens. Inside the receiving and checking area for goods brought back from the Kai Hoang area, there is a majestic and terrifying scene with a bunch of machines dividing different parts of this red-haired wild boar for storage. From horns, hair to hooves or all horns are carefully processed under the direction of Deep Transon. He is now the captain of the back then team, recognized by Kim Huan for his abilities and has the right to command his subordinates. It's been a long time since a high-quality level 9 ferocious beast was brought home completely, so Deep Transon was very enthusiastic, not paying attention to when 3 outsiders came from behind him. Tu Langwei and Hua Kuang have not yet joined any official team other than going to the wilderness with Bin, so both of them could not help but feel the professionalism of the back then team, handling even a large level 9 ferocious beast. So big, so neat and clean. Deep Transon wiped the blood from his hands and happily turned around to greet his brother Bin, whom he had not seen for a long time. Ask the 2 people behind you, are they the juniors who spoke on the phone? He still remained as affable as ever, respectfully jumping down from above to personally welcome him. He did not specifically introduce whether this was his sister or his student, just said his name and introduced Deep Transon as the captain of the back then team, and would later take them both to practice in the wilderness. Team back then has a very good reputation among students still in school, like a recruiter specializing in getting good students to study well at the top schools of the big city. In the base of Longjiang City, which is located in the outer edge area, even if someone is as rich as Hua Kuang, he may not have easy access, let alone to Langwei. So both of them showed extremely envious faces, making Deep Transon shy and the guests laughed. Those things are for outsiders to hear, but team back then, that time without Bin to save them, they would have died in the wilderness. Let me remind you, at that time, Bin used soul shaking to win an illusion prize for the whole team, and later brought the VM Land Blood Dao back in exchange for money. So Deep Transon accepting these 2 kids is a reciprocal thing. He will take care of the procedures for joining the team and the future work. He just needs to follow them and practice. Deep Transon himself led the group of people into the team member area to get acquainted with the other members into the internal environment. As he walked, he introduced and answered questions from the 2 young people. Bin didn't say anything except asking about Captain Nipton's daughter, how is she now? At that time, he wanted to change his life and go alone to VM Lanhuyat Dao Cave to find the crystal tree and pick the fruit for his daughter, who had been bedridden for a long time. Now that girl is healthy and has become a battle pet master, but the pain of losing her father has not gone away. Since Deep Tan Kong died, she has no more relatives. Having said that, I still have to thank Bin. Without him that day, no one would have been able to drive me home. Bin nodded slightly without commenting further, just saying that was what he should do. Time flies. Bin has improved at such a fast rate that it seems like it has passed away. Seeing that his work here was done, Bin handed the 2 children over to Deep Transon and said goodbye immediately rather than staying to review old stories. He also intended to keep him there longer, but Bin was not the type of person who liked to socialize anyway, so he agreed to take care of his junior and then said goodbye. When Bin was some distance away from the group of people, he revealed his very irritated expression. Although Nipton Kong's death was not directly related to him, but was due to a group of evil people fighting over things in the middle of the street, Bin always kept that matter in mind. Always thought it was all because he wasn't strong enough that he let the people around him die instantly. So, having more strength can definitely protect him more. Now there's even more reason to infiltrate Long Thua Station, reserved for the position of passing on the secret scene. Long Dai Mountain, high in the clouds, is still the same as before. If you want to reach the place where there are no flying pets, you must walk through 9 steps to reach the gathering space above. There had been thousands of people gathered there since early morning, wanting to get inside the Long Dai Tower, but they couldn't cross the floor. The door to the secret world had opened, but the experts above were determined not to let outsiders in. They said this was an important moment, so they had to guard it carefully. If anyone in the crowd messed up, they would get punched without saying much. There was a buzz about rumors that people inside the secret realm were trying to wake up until the last dragon scale could begin the purification process and become the successor to Long Dai. No wonder there are experts at the title level here guarding someone who everyone knows is coming to get it. In the past, the delicious and exotic items of Longjiang city base were not available to ordinary people. They all fell into the hands of big families. Standing above that group of people is Nhu Yen, who has openly managed this entire mountain, reserving a position for a girl named Nguyen Lin Lo from the beginning. No one dared to stand up to oppose it, so it became a matter of course. That's with someone, not with Tabin. He turned into a bright golden streak and soared to land directly on Long Dai Yard, in front of thousands of people waiting. The crowd was still confused as to who this guy was, appearing so coolly before the power of the Nguyen family. Someone recognized him immediately. The person who surpassed the Duong family last time rushed into the secret place alone, breaking through the 9 floors, while Duong Nhu Yen and the Willow family's son were fighting fiercely for the entrance. The people guarding above did not know his identity, so they raised their hands to prevent him from entering, with the reason that the entrance to the secret place of Long Dai Mountain had been closed. That nonsense reason to try to trick to Bin? He smiled and asked again. I see the crack is still there, but why do you guys blatantly monopolize the inheritance of the secret realm? Please pay attention to your words. Nguyen Dai Nyan has already chosen the heir. In this deserted area, the legendary level battle pet master is Heaven. Do you want to resist the will of the heavens? The other people who couldn't enter the secret realm were looking forward to chatting, but they expected this to be a bit tense, so it was very interesting. Thinking that this guy is too reckless, having provoked the Duong family last time, and now openly confronting the Nguyen Yen forces is truly boring. But for Tabin, he treasured that heavenly robe very much. If he wanted to see the light from heaven, he would let people open their eyes. Following his command on the watch, Lak Kong Toa, from the orbit outside Lam Tin, immediately shined a wide area targeting red beam at the foolish people below. If you lock them up tightly, if you get excited, you will level this entire castle area, always saying nothing about shrimp and shrimp. Even if they didn't know who Tabin was, they would still recognize Lak Kong Toa, who had the power to fire 10,000 tons of tin koi artillery particles aimed at them. It's weirder than usual and requires a 13 Vong order team to be able to call Lak Kong Toa to target, unless the leader has control over Tin Vong to be able to do this. Wait, that said, this person is, yes, that person is me. Tabin no longer hid his identity like before. He burst out with a bundle of spiritual energy that enveloped his body, smiled like an evil character and asked these people if they wanted to stop him again, without saying a word directly. Who dares, but I don't dare. The 2 gatekeepers knelt down and immediately asked for peace, then gently beat the people who had entered Long Kot Tower. Whatever he wants, just don't hurt Nguyen Lin Lo. After all, their goal is just a trick to ask Long Dai. But Tabin did not promise anything. His whole body rushed inside, just saying that he wouldn't do anything if those people didn't attack him. As for Long Dai's reputation today, he must definitely take it. After solving the matter of the super god pet shop, Tabin rushed all the way to the secret realm of Long Bone Tower, but was stopped by several doormen so that Nguyen Lin Lo could easily become the heir. To show that he is the male protagonist of the story, Tabin, after showing his authority by pointing a red laser at the butts of Nguyen Yen's masters, also said a very reasonable sentence. As long as you don't touch me, I won't do anything to anyone else. Don't waste any more time. He immediately stepped inside the space crack and entered the secret realm of Dragon Bone Tower to get to work. The experts outside, after a moment of bewilderment, realized that the young man who had just entered was actually the new owner of the Starry Sky, the hegemon of the Luke A region. Please pick up your watch and contact the hotline immediately. Immediately notify Nguyen Thien then so that he can handle it before he blocks Nguyen Lin Lo's inheritance path. Nguyen Thien then has handed over Nguyen Lin Lo to all the experts under the barrier, and is now quietly cultivating in the middle of the Lake of Death to restore spiritual power. Not long after, the switchboard received a signal. His subordinates rushed into his soaking pool area, signaling the guards of Long Dai Sun to report an urgent matter. What's the hurry? Do you know that my health is more important? Nguyen Thien Than's eyes flashed with a dangerous murderous aura, and he repeated in a harsh voice, reminding that noisy subordinate that he was still suffering from the flame, burned from the previous battle, and how much effort it took to suppress it. After controlling it, sit and soak in the water of the dead spirit pond to restore your strength. Who the hell dares to disturb my Nguyen Thien Than's retreat time? The donkey spots that fire flame ate from Anna still shine brightly in her chest. After being suppressed for a long time and using lots of herbal medicine, he was able to get to that point, but when he was first attacked, he still had to be carried out on a handle, so there was no way he could sit like today. He let out a fierce roar that made the secretary so startled that she immediately bowed down and admitted her mistake, not daring to argue a word. Seeing that submission, Nguyen Thien then calmed down a bit and asked what had happened. If you dare to call about something broken, I will torture you. This matter is not big, not small, but I don't know why the subordinates at Long Dai are so angry. The female secretary quickly showed the image of the guards retreating, allowing Bin to enter, and added a short sentence covering the entire situation there. The owner is Bin has entered the secret realm. That's such a small thing. That short two-word name, as soon as it comes out of my mouth, I know everything is quite simple. The matter was so small that old Nguyen Thien then not only said it but also spit out a mouthful of pond water from his chest. Bin, you hurt me. I've been in retreat here. Why did you call that person's name when I was almost done with it? His face was sometimes red, sometimes white, half due to choking on water, half due to his lingering feelings for Bin, chills still rising in his chest. The secretary below noticed a change and immediately looked up and asked Nguyen Dai Nhan if he was okay. For now, putting your health aside, Nguyen Thien then asked where the person who holds the land of Lam Lan is now. How is the situation over there? Report quickly to him. Don't say that Bin rushed in and beat up some of his disciples. But no, his subordinates reported, nothing happened there yet. Lady Nguyen Lin Lo was escorted to successfully cross the 9th floor of Long Cot Tower. The whole group devoted all their strength and at the fastest speed to wipe out the entire area, to bring Nguyen Lin Lo to the location of the secret realm successor. According to people, as soon as they arrive, they will become heirs. How harsh to think, I have been training Nguyen Lin Lo and his subordinates for so long, taking over this Longjiang base area, just to give her the opportunity to become Long Dai's successor. Things have come to this. It's the 99th step, just one more step and Bin will jump out and trip him. Is this a coincidence or Bin wants to rub a little to show that he knows me? The gatekeeper of Long Cot Thap met directly with the current Bin. He seemed to have better information than Nguyen Thien then, who was seriously injured a long time ago, so he boldly expressed his opinion. All the forces remained motionless, but they would all come to work at the same time to show this guy Bin his hand. That's partly what Nguyen Thien then meant. He always thought that he was careless and hasty that day, which is why he gave the store owner that nonsense and injured him. Thinking back, the secret Dragon Bone Tower was opened because of a space rift and not in Lam Tin's territory, so if anything happened inside, no one would know. It's okay to stop the activities of all the teams inside there, but I'm afraid that stopping will affect Nguyen Lin Lo's results, and I'm not sure that if I stop, Bin will be obedient and reasonable. Is his personality like the type of river water that doesn't violate well water? If we could kill Bin inside, it would be great. Outside, no one knows if the star or the store owner was killed in a separate place. However, the wound left by the store employee that time was still very painful. It's also because of it that 2VY has never recovered to the legendary level. He can scare others but not Bin. If he's clever, he might even get his mouth broken. But this is a great opportunity to pull the scissors and blow Bin's head off. I think he's been putting up with this brat for a long time. Isn't Tiger cleverly mistaken for being Hello Kitty wearing a bow? With a strong voice, Nguyen Thien then ordered all forces to immediately go to Long Kot Thap. While he was still thinking ahead, Bin jumped from the space crack into the tower, reaching the first floor entrance with just one jump. He gently landed on the ground. The Tang family's anti-attack cape, the treasure of the Tang family, fluttered to look at the lettuce, and it was as black as Batman. Suddenly he felt a little hotter. The inheritance mark stood out large above, like a signal to the Dragon Bone Tower. At the same time, the large, heavy stone door in front of him opened wide as if inviting him inside. Enjoying the cool breeze, he remembered that time when he and his pets had to gingerly open the door at such a different time. Does Long Kot Thap rent space to open a convenience store? Why are you standing outside the door with the air conditioning vent open? Good question. If you don't clarify, this guy will ask about the rental price. From inside the tower, the slow resounding voice of the Dragon King was heard, letting him know that the person who had passed the 9th floor and accepted the inheritance challenge had automatically passed these small floors. Please go straight inside. Behind the door is still a dark scene without any lights, but thanks to the light shining in, Bin can still see the large anti-brush room inside, now without any statues. At that time, he foolishly walked in here with his pet animals, turned on the lights to make it easier to see the road, and was skewered to death countless times by the ferocious statues. Then he finally understood that a battle pet master must feel and perceive the spiritual energy around him instead of turning on the flash. Bin and his group of pets pretended to be blind and deaf as they gradually groped their way through and reached the first floor of the maze. From there they had a door to gradually clear the island above. Thinking back on the terrible memories, wherever his steps went, the Dragon Bone Tower lights turned on and shined brightly. But now he is on the 2nd floor, the light on the 9th floor has been turned on, announcing that someone has successfully passed the last level. Bin still remembers that at that time people said that to reach the 9th floor, the combat power must be at least the upper 9th level. At that time, there were too few people who had reached that level, so the Dragon Bone Tower was transferred and waited until Nguyen Lin Lo had all its essence before it could reach there. The places he passed had traces of power and explosions, proving that there were many people fighting in this place to bring Nguyen Lin Lo higher. At that time, Bin had the skill of being a worm that never stops. He kept dying and reincarnating continuously so he had a chance to reach the top of the tower. As for other families, someone must reach level 9 to even dream of reaching this level. Sure enough, when he reached the 9th floor, he saw the familiar image of a golden dragon circling around a pink-haired girl, emitting a deep voice congratulating her for passing the 9th floor and having the opportunity to become a human. Transfer excess. Nguyen Lin Lo, Nguyen Thien Than's granddaughter, her entire body still emitted purple spiritual energy. Her beautiful young face still had a few drops of sweat, smiling and thanking the dragon god for being gentle with her. If considering the tower's claws alone, Nguyen Lin Lo has reached the same level as Bin. Both have extra pass marks on their foreheads, qualified to become successors. It's true that she was escorted there by a group of people, but her trump card was, the body technique and skills taught by her grandfather can easily overcome the barrier. Standing behind silently evaluating, Bin couldn't help but give her compliments. Looking at Nguyen Lin Lo, she is still very young, not using pets, only using body skills to get up here. I can feel that my cultivation level and hers are equivalent, both are currently level 7, it's a pity that I couldn't come to see how the match went. Well, why don't I take the opportunity to explore a little to find out? How many chances do I have to know the reason myself? The slightest movement of his thoughts caused the spiritual energy in space to fluctuate violently. Nguyen Lin Lo recognized him immediately, turned his head towards that corner and asked loudly who he was. She should be the only one here. Realizing that the person who had just arrived could fly with his body, there was also a bright golden spiritual energy surrounding his body, approaching him. Nguyen Lin Lo drew his sword with a harsh look and asked again who the newcomer was. This long bone tower was supposed to be completely blocked by Nguyen Thien Than's people, her grandfather. How could a stranger suddenly get into this place? Having decided to play the villain, of course Tabin did not answer her innocent question. He floated towards her from above, emitting a source of murderous aura, slowly asking her if she thought that just by passing these few floors, reaching here, she could become the heir of Dragon Bone Tower? Why do your words sound so much like those of an old man? Suddenly, his entire golden body appeared out of nowhere, and he asked questions that were not like what ordinary people say at all. Nguyen Lin Lo's head was full of question marks. It was difficult to understand what this person was saying. Could this be the real body of the old Dragon King, the owner of this tower? After thinking about it, I immediately dismissed that thought. Nguyen Lin Lo pointed his sword at Tabin and cursed your father for not believing. Grandpa once said that there was someone who successfully passed the test, and that person was definitely you. Or not. Tabin's whole body curled up with the image of a golden dragon just like the old Dragon King in charge of this book tower. Standing in the middle of a rushing stream of air like a storm, Tabin raised his hand and pointed forward like the famous Detective Conan, loudly declaring that he was the old Dragon King who has been here for tens of thousands of years looking for me. Out in air. The air rushing around Tabin's body was what Nguyen Lin Lo had to overcome to get here. She quickly realized that it was the dragon roar. It's terrible that Tabin's acting really took a lot of time and effort. The effect backdrops were already basically still not believing it, but Nguyen Lin Lo's mind flashed another scenario about what his grandfather had said before, that there were creatures who gradually had a spiritual will, transformed into human form and then mixed into the human race. Plus, it also looks very prestigious. The detail that bothered her the most was that it was impossible to check the cultivation level from the person in front of her. His whole body was black. That person turned his back and waved at her as if he didn't care, leaving behind a sentence. If you don't want to inherit, I'll go find someone else and say goodbye. Nguyen Lin Lo immediately woke up when she heard about being denied the inheritance. She clasped her hands and knelt down immediately. Extremely sincere, please calm down the Dragon King's anger because Lin Lo is stupid. Now I beg to be allowed to inherit. Tabin's mouth curled up into a villainous smile. Hee hee, in your heart, silly girl. Today I will teach you a free course, how to call it dangerous and unpredictable loss. He smiled, turned around and showed a cold face with a combination of fiery eyes and some kind of intense Highland sacred dragon fire effect, slowly saying that this is not my incarnation, but I am living in this person. Huh? What do you mean? You mean your power is hidden inside this man in front of you? Nguyen Lin Lo was already caught up in his nonsense story, eagerly asking about the end of the story. Yes, absolutely, very smart person. He acted like an old man praising a child, even pointing his finger straight at his face to praise Nguyen Lin Lo, making her salivate happily. I immediately heard Tabin lie and continue that to be able to truly receive the inheritance, we had to go to the south of Long Kot Tower 72 outside at the foot of the mountain to the right place. As if guided by the party's light, Nguyen Lin Lo had no doubts and happily accepted the instructions from the old Dragon King, intending to clasp his hands and leave immediately. Suddenly, he saw Tabin's hand reaching out to stop him. Long Lang had a barrier that blocked all those carrying weapons to prevent those with rebel intentions. His spiritual energy turned into a few scattered pieces of gold, flying scattered in the air. Nguyen Lin Lo thought about the things she brought, extremely confused and didn't know what to do. Tabin offered to keep all the weapons and secret treasures for her to ease her burden. It's great to have Mr. Dragon King help me feel secure. Nguyen Lin Lo smiled brightly like a blooming flower, clasped his hands extremely politely, and offered the sword in his hand forward for Tabin to keep. While the little girl was trusting good people and doing good deeds, Nguyen Thien Than's group of people rushed forward to gather nearly 100 people. Next to the space crack, the crowd of people remained motionless, waiting for the moment when the young lady would shine, and were whispering incessantly. Now this secret realm has been cleared. Miss Nguyen Lin Lo has also successfully passed the 9th level. Leading the black crowd, the former angel's face was bruised as if he had suffered a liver injury, silently leading the group of people forward in his footsteps. He has already made up his mind, Even though he is still injured, whether he will be successful in the future or not will depend on this announcement. Nguyen Lo must definitely use all his strength to fight with the family to receive your inheritance. Just as I finished thinking, bright light from the clouds shone down on the entire area below. The divine dragon's shape curled around the tower, slowly informing you that its soul had been completely restored. Now is the moment everyone has been waiting for, because the Dragon King will now name the heir to his soul. Before I could reach the foot of the mountain, I saw the Dragon King appear here, announcing his heir. Is it possible that I shortened the time because I was too impatient? Without keeping everyone waiting too long, the heir suddenly saw the scene in front of him. The Dragon King froze. What are you guys doing? Nguyen Lo is taking off her armor, skirt, sword, and secret treasure. Before I could do anything, I saw the Dragon King's soul appear in full force. Going all the way up to all 9 floors of the brightly lit Long Cot Tower, Bin realized that there was Nguyen Lo, Nguyen Thien Than's granddaughter, waiting for the old Dragon King to appear and designate his heir. I don't understand where his dirty and decisive features went, but when he saw this pink-haired girl, he got excited and pretended to be a dragon god, telling Nguyen Lo to take off all his belongings and equipment to receive the inheritance elsewhere. The calculation seemed to be wrong, so old Dragon King appeared right when Nguyen Lo was gradually stripping off his clothes, asking what are you two doing here? No matter how foolish she was when she saw Lao Long Vong's true form, he was a big dragon with a slow voice. Having guided her to the 9th floor, Nguyen Lo immediately understood that Bin was pranking her. Hastily putting on her clothes and equipment, she confusedly scolded him for being a fraud. Before she could finish a single bite, Bin was scolded. Bin didn't bother to pay the fine or anything, just ignore her. Old Long Vong looked at the 2 young children who were cursing back and forth, especially Nguyen Lo, who looked bored like a child. A person who has almost never experienced any competition or hardship, so his personality is too straightforward. Seeing someone trick you, you still naively ask if you lied to me, look me in the eyes and swear. One guy blatantly scammed others and then pretended he had nothing to do with it. He was clearly a scheming psychopath. Once you've fooled people, you don't want to keep your hands on the equipment anymore. Looking back and forth, none of them looked heroic, allowing the old Dragon King to pass on the inheritance comfortably. Actually, he had a feeling that if he gave his power to either of these two, he would be wronged. Is it okay if I disband and come back tomorrow to continue? But the Dragon King doesn't want anyone to inherit. Bin made such a big effort to come here, of course he didn't want to leave without receiving the inheritance. So he waved his hand and pointed at Nguyen Lo, saying that this girl's people had surrounded the entire secret place. Today's Dragon King must choose one of the 2 as his heir, there is no other choice. The tone of this person who likes to give orders to others shows that this young man has dealt with many people who disobey him. But this behavior made the old Dragon King extremely uncomfortable. Many people came here hesitantly hoping to receive strength from him, but this guy came and said directly that he wanted this and that. Is this small human not afraid of the supreme power of the leader of the true dragon, like me? But think about it, he has lived for thousands of years, who has the time to compare? If Bin did not have the ability and courage, how could he climb all the way here and claim to inherit the power of the Dragon King? Thinking so, he opened the summoning space next to him, declaring that the 2 of them had passed the first test, and now the final test. Instead of opening the summoning space to bring out the pet beasts, the old Dragon King took Bin and Nguyen Lo to another dimension full of sparkling light like the Milky Way, spreading out as far as the eye could see. Stop point. In front of both of them did not appear any planets or solar systems, but a giant set of mist with only vertebrae and long ribs, with no end in sight. Each segment of the living dew grows several sharp thorns as large as a tall building, making strange, murky sounds. The old Dragon King wanted both of them to use all their strength to climb the bone stairs. Whoever reached the highest step would be the winner of the inheritance challenge. While Nguyen Lo was still stunned by the horrifying majesty of the final test, Bin silently tried the spiritual power in his hand to fly, but failed. The spiritual energy in his hand was like a sponge that gathered for a second and then broke into pieces that were of no use. It was clear that the energy of this space had been suppressed by a huge force, so it was difficult to condense on a large scale. Bin could only call them out, but he could not gather them into a pile. That also means he cannot use spiritual energy to lift himself up to fly in mid-air. In addition, without spiritual energy, it is impossible to open the summoning space to call the Hell Dragon Beast out and use its wings to rush up. In general, there is only one method of climbing the ladder: 2 legs. Nguyen Lin Lo didn't think as much as him. She used the sword to rush forward with the thought that whoever could climb higher quickly would win. So she left behind the evil man who specializes in fraud, and ran forward, wanting to prove to Long Vong and to Bin how worthy she was of receiving the inheritance. She stepped on the ribs and thorns growing from her vertebrae, quickly taking every 3 steps up a floor, leaving behind the sound of cursing the cheater. Let's see if there's any way you can pull off a trick in this place, okay? Bin also refused to lose to her. If he couldn't use his pet or his body to fly, then he could use his 2 legs, so there's nothing to be afraid of. It's as if Bin had never plowed rice, or something like that. He experienced everything and lacked nothing. So Bin used all his strength and shot straight to the 3rd floor of Long Kot Tower, without needing to jump small steps like Nguyen Lin Lo. He landed majestically with his black cape flying coolly. But as soon as his feet touched Long Kot's surface, countless rough hands of all sizes immediately floated up from below, a handful of his pants legs, tugging at his blood. Bin didn't say much. Instead of using his fists, he let go, straight down at the hands below to scatter them. However, this mass of bone mist was more mischievous than he thought. As soon as he lowered his fist, he saw a whole set of skeletons emerge, opening their mouths and baring their fangs, wanting to grab his hand. But his family is the king of Vong Ti, so how can this mobile set make Bin nervous? He looked at the rapidly increasing amount of mist, realizing that they could easily cling to him, but the black cloak was not effective in blocking it. In theory, the Tang family's black cloak should have the effect of helping him avoid all physical and spiritual attacks below level 9, but here it is like a normal cloak without any power. So, thinking about it for a moment, it seems that you are not allowed to use secret treasures here. After all, secret treasures must have spiritual power to use them. Having to rely on himself, Bin closed his eyes and took a deep breath, temporarily ignoring the rough hands touching his face. He roared back, his eyes flashed golden light, and the scream from his mouth easily blew away the sorrowful fog. The dragon's roar that he learned was indeed effective against the illusions that the dragon's bone here created. Even though Bin's sense of reality was much higher than the illusions he encountered in the Dragonbone Tower before, they still easily, like being hit by an atomic bomb, gradually disappeared without a trace. But before he could blink, the dry mist from the ground was floating up, just like that. Bin silently assessed that even if it was an illusion, the feeling he got on his body when they touched him was very real. There is also the ability to automatically attack or automatically defend as an instinct, making these already difficult to deal with now even more persistent than leeches. Soon around Bin, there was a sea of bone mist swimming towards him. This time, he didn't bother using his dragon roar to blow them away, because every time he fought them all, he would only have to add a few hundred more. If he continued like this, it would only be a useless waste of physical strength. Even if you just want to suppress the defense ability of the skeletons, you will also consume quite a bit of mental power on them. So this final test is to see the limits of the inheritor's mental and physical strength. Bin turned his back and walked towards the next floor, silently evaluating this test as quite interesting. That group of mist bones continued to point their arms towards him, wanting to pull them back endlessly. It's just that I haven't used my full strength for a long time. Let Bin test today to see if his mental and physical strength can compete with these illusions, okay? Nguyen Lin Lo was currently on the 9th floor of Long Kot, facing a black dragon that seemed to have emerged from the underground, roaring majestically, without the slightest expression of fear. Nguyen Thien then knows very well that the power inside Long Bone Tower leans towards mental attacks and physical endurance, so he has trained Nguyen Lin's descendants to counter illusions in the most skillful way. Just close your eyes, Nguyen Lin Lo, and you can easily pass through the illusion of the black dragon. even disdainfully saying that this is nothing compared to the hardships your grandfather has trained you for. Her eyes were resilient as she remembered her childhood filled with days of endless fighting. Her life has been practicing since she was 3 years old, and since she was 10 years old, she started fighting ferocious beasts. So physical fitness is easy for her. Coupled with the fact that her grandfather Nhu Yen is a tough person, nominating whoever he wants her to win, she tries her best to complete the mission with extremely high determination. From herds of wild wolves, to ferocious beasts 3 to 4 times the size of their small bodies, she obeyed whatever her grandfather wanted. Whatever Nhu Yen then said, she listened, studied and followed without thinking too much, because that was the easiest path to success. It was the same then as it is now, what my grandfather said was absolutely correct. Today she stood here, bravely overcoming all kinds of illusions simulating ferocious beasts of all sizes, confidently affirming that the person inheriting the inheritance must be her Nguyen Lin Lo, not someone else. Lin Lo, you did well. I thought I was just thinking about my grandfather, but suddenly I saw Nhu Yen standing with his back to him, stroking his silver beard. She was a bit surprised to see him suddenly appear in front of her, but just a second later, Nhu Yen then turned back. All the holes on his face were bleeding with scary black blood. His mouth roared with contempt. Do you think that's it? You're just a bastard, no matter how hard you try, it won't be enough. Grandfather suddenly rushed over and grabbed Nguyen Lin Lo's neck with his hand, and said fiercely that you should die so you can be free of debt. But after only 2 seconds of entangling that shadow, Nguyen Lin Lo decisively used his sword to slash away the illusion. Grandpa loves her the most, wants all the best things for his granddaughter, of course he can't say those curses. So this illusion is definitely fake. If this dragon bone wants to simulate a loved one to have psychological influence, then at least research that person's spirit to see how it is. If it's so silly, who would believe it? However, as soon as Nguyen Lin Lo left that place, she immediately collapsed. She tried to regulate her breathing to control the pain, but still felt discomfort in her body. Even though it's a small illusion and not difficult to overcome, the traces it leaves behind become real wounds. The illusory fingerprints of her grandfather squeezing her were still intact on her neck, but looking back, she was a little proud of what she had done. In just a few minutes, I climbed to the 17th floor but could not see the scammer anywhere. Looking around for a while and not seeing him anywhere around here, Nguyen Lin Lo was pretty sure that Guy had been left behind by him. But no, while Nguyen Lin Lo was still struggling to rest, Tabin calmly jumped forward before her shocked eyes. Very irritable but having lost more energy than he thought, Nguyen Lin Lo could only look bitterly at the bad guy for a while, then quickly chase after him. In front of Tabin, a bunch of pet animals of all kinds, whenever they saw him running, rushed out and wanted to bite him. He didn't stop for a second, both hands fanning the illusory pet beasts that disappeared without a trace. At first, he spent a bit of time thinking about how to pass the floors here, but now that he's gotten used to the way of working solely on physical and mental strength, it feels quite easy. In the past, I fought with all kinds of strange beasts barehanded, so these realistic illusions advertised were just shoppy products at best. In addition, later on, Tabin was trained in mental power and the strange-looking lightning tribulation. Now he is extremely curious about how many floors he can jump with this terrible aura. Speeding faster and faster, Tabin raced from the 18th floor where he met Nguyen Lin Lo to the 30th floor, then 50th, then kept running without looking back. While being extremely enthusiastic, the old Dragon King's voice suddenly rang out, announcing that the test had ended. At this time of the rainy season, Tabin was exhausted. He was a little exhausted and let out tired sounds, but if he tried, he could still climb higher. Suddenly forced to stop, Tabin lost interest and looked up to ask why it ended here. The eagle candidate on the 33rd floor had already lost consciousness. Hearing the Dragon King's explanation, he took a deep breath and mumbled incomprehensibly, the person who was trained by the legend, with all the resources he had, but can only climb to the 33rd floor. What about me? What floor am I on? Floor 143. You have reached floor 143, 110 floors higher than that girl. Since arriving at Long Kothet and seeing a pink-haired girl trying to carry him to the throne, Bin without showing any respect, just passed Nguyen Lin Lo, rushing past several steps of Long Kot at a time. Just a little more than 10 steps, she felt weak in her arms and legs and needed to go down to rest, so seeing the scammer speeding past her eyes was very painful. The more Bin ran, the more enthusiastic he became, to the point of not even turning around. How to handle the illusions became more and more simple for him. It was not until Long Vong announced that he would stop competing that Bin realized he had reached the 143rd step, a long way from Nguyen Lin Lo, who had fainted. A while later Nguyen Lin Lo woke up and realized that her body was no longer in pain or injury. Old Dragon King knew she was confused, so he explained that it was because he had treated both of their injuries. Don't think that Bin climbed more than 30 steps at a time and was unharmed. It's just that because he was born and died all the time, he was more used to the feeling of being killed than Nguyen Lin Lo. That stinks. Waiting for Nguyen Lin Lo to calm down, Long Vong announced that the first test ended with Bin's overwhelming victory. At first, it was thought that only this one match would determine the heir, but actually there was still another match waiting. Whoever wins both matches will automatically have the right to inherit. Looking at Bin standing there proudly without even turning to look at his opponent, Nguyen Lin Lo became more and more angry, yet he lost to a bad guy. Long Vong, like a kind old man who specializes in comforting children, gently advised Nguyen Lin Lo not to be hasty, because things don't matter. Although you failed in the latter battle, your strength is clearly confirmed every time you pass 10 levels, not to mention that you should only have to pass the 10th level to be eligible to inherit. He did not say it out loud, but implicitly implied that Nguyen Lin Lo, even if he lost to Bin, he still wanted to pass on the inheritance status to her. And now he will give a reward to encourage Nguyen Lin Lo's spirit. Bin, who had been silent all this time, suddenly asked what about him. Did he have a gift? Of course not. Didn't you hear me say I only gave it to Nguyen Lin Lo? Why do you still ask? Bin suddenly turned into a country person. If he didn't give gifts, he would stand in front of him and reward others. Nguyen Lin Lo Dan's heart was full of hope. This gift seemed to represent what he wanted to say. Because he wanted her to inherit more than Bin, he encouraged her to fight in the second battle, right? If so, she still has a chance to recover. Although this favoritism was obvious, Nguyen Lin Lo really liked it and excitedly said, "Let's start the second test. Long Vong, you're ready." Looking at Nguyen Lin Lo's innocent and confident look, Mr. Long Vong felt his head hurt a bit. I feel sorry for a lovely, hard-working girl, but before leaving, she forgot to burn incense and pray to Buddha, and was mercilessly crushed by Bin. That's why he wanted to give Nguyen Lin Lo a gift to comfort his spirit, but he knew at a glance that he was dangerous and unpredictable. Having guarded the heart of the Bone Tower for thousands of years, to be honest, I have never met anyone with outstanding qualities like him, but that's why he did not want to quickly hand over the inheritance to Bin, fearing that he would misuse the power of the Heart King. To the land of ecstasy. Just now was the competition for everyone. Next is the battle of combat power, called hand-to-hand combat. Whoever can defeat the other will win. This battle also has the effect of making the loser recognize the winner's ability, putting aside the troubles. If it's a self-fight, Nguyen Lin Lo is quite confident. As soon as he enters the match, he immediately opens 3 summoning spaces, bringing out his pet Kung to show Bin what a festival is. Space quickly appeared 3 species of war pets bearing the feather family. The most eye-catching is the purple-white phoenix, spreading its wings and fiery eyes, looking as hot as ice cream. The phoenix's 5 tails fanned out wide, blowing away Bin's cloak. On both sides of it are 2 smaller black feathers emitting blue light, ready to assist the phoenix in doing business with its opponents. Bin has never directly confronted this pet beast, but he knows that it is a divine phoenix death spirit with royal bloodline. In addition, it is the prototype of the bird statue placed in front of Fuang Sun Academy. Bin has seen it several times when he has come back and taught. No wonder it looks familiar. This is a legendary pet beast with the bloodline of a phoenix, and when it reaches adulthood, it will have combat power reaching level 10. Just thinking about it makes people longing for it. having a statue carved in front of the academy's door would be terrifying. But Tabin discovered that her spirit phoenix had not yet had the horizontal division of the breast, to prove that it had reached adulthood. It is a part that resembles a tail but grows from the chest of the pet, looping behind 2 pairs of wings, making the phoenix look strong. If it had not yet reached adulthood, its combat power could not reach the legendary level 10. Nguyen Lin Lo did not bother to hide anything, calling its name Purple Sweet Potato in a friendly way, proudly saying that he and it had fought together. Each other since childhood. Even though he was underage, he had countless battles that overwhelmed level 9 experts. Even Dao Tun was defeated by the 2 of us. Did Dao Tun lose to this girl? Although I had never seen him with a pet animal, with his swordsmanship skills, I was afraid that this white feathered bird would be cut down before even opening its eyes. Tabin's hand opened a single summoning space, his mouth smiling sarcastically at Nguyen Lin Lo. When Dao Tun was defeated by her, it was probably because he respected Nguyen Thien Than. Afraid that she won't believe what he says, Tabin will let Nguyen Lin Lo know how strong she is to win against Dao Tun. This time he did not bother to summon the little skeleton but confidently called the dark dragon dog alone to stand next to him. Since its enlightenment, its size is much larger than that of a pet of the same species, standing next to it, overwhelming the size of Tabin. Although he was smiling, his face was cold. It was not a contemptible enemy that summoned the dark dragon dog, but the level of Nguyen Lin Lo's leverage was not worthy of him showing off his trump card. The old Dragon King looked and realized that the dark dragon dog was a pet beast with a small part of the dragon bloodline, but even if that ratio increased 10 times, the dragon part would still be far behind, going back and forth. No matter how big it is just a black dog, nothing more and nothing less. But one thing he found very strange was that Tabin's dark dragon dog did not have any of the ferocity that a beast tribe should have. In fact, he found this dog to be very calm and confident. A light blue spiritual energy rose around its body, and smoke flew out of its mouth, showing that it was patiently waiting for orders. It's impossible, perhaps this black dog has been through a lifetime of tribulation. Old Long Vong recognized it, but was Nguyen Lin Lo able to recognize it? Probably shouldn't immediately rush forward with the spirit of the phoenix, ready to fight. She was at the bottom with a beautiful sword that had just been unsheathed. A phoenix flying right above was covered with green beans and a tea tree followed behind, releasing the wind spirit, enhancing her strength. This half-white, half-purple bird makes its first move with its wide-open beak. It turned the surrounding spiritual energy into streaks of fire that swirled around its beak, gathered into phoenix fire, and shot a pinch towards a person and a black dog retreating in the distance. Since interacting with Hua Kuang, he has gotten used to the habit of standing tall and receiving attacks. This time he also stood tall like that and took the entire blow of the phoenix god inflammation without bothering to dodge. Nguyen Lin Lo should be happy to see the crowd, but sad to see the dark dragon dog without a scratch. It didn't bother to attack right after the death spirit phoenix's attack, but just stood there waiting for it to completely dissipate. It was clear that there was only a little bit of unhappiness in his eyes. The rest seemed like that phoenix god inflammation move wasn't enough to scratch his itch. Needless to say, Nguyen Lin Lo was startled. Even though he was not yet an adult, the dead phoenix god was still able to unleash a level 9 move, and the dark dragon dog took the entire blow without losing a single hair. Surely this dog is an illusion. Thinking that it was Nguyen Lin Lo, he rushed straight towards the dark dragon dog, intending to erase the illusion, but unexpectedly he smashed his face into the beast's front leg, like running at an alter speed and meeting a concrete pillar. Nguyen Lin Lo was thrown a distance and had to regain her balance. When I ran out of sauce for this little girl, I thought the black dog in front of me was an illusion, so I rushed past without even paying attention. I almost broke my mother's nose, what else? Nguyen Lin Lo knelt down to observe the dog more closely, holding her hand and moaning from the dizzying pain, while trying to think that Fuang Than Yan must have been hit by the physical defense of the dark dragon dog. Failed. The thinking is quite logical, but that alone is not enough to do business with Tabin. He curled his lips and asked again, "Is this all you say? Since when did Tabin have any interest in flirting with this girl?" With his normal style, a move that doesn't let people breathe, snatching away what they need as what he usually does. Tabin's taunting made Nguyen Lo very angry. She screamed and called her purple sweet potato to perform the inherited skills of the phoenix lineage. It flapped its wings, creating fiery flames on both its wings and tail. Its whole body was so bright red that it looked like a fiery summer. Its whole body soon transformed into a burning coal mode, due to its extreme sexual arousal. There was fire all around, and the burning fire from the dead phoenix spirit fell down and swept over master and servant Tabin, as if he was standing in the middle of a lava flow. Do you guys remember the episode where Tabin bathed in a lava lake like a hot spring? I'm afraid it won't burn his clothes, let alone threaten him. Opening his mouth to praise the fire temperature this time, it was indeed stronger than the fire in the Phoenix God inflammation move. Tabin felt the heat. But that tactic doesn't end there. Nguyen Lo knelt on one knee on the ground, putting himself in a defensive position with the dirty sword held high, absorbing the flames of the royal sexual world into it, causing it to emit light that looked like heated steel. The sword became brighter and brighter, until the hilt brought a terrible weight to Nguyen Lo's arm. Feeling the burning heat radiating out, she had to try hard to lift it up. When it raised the sword above its head, it turned into a torch. It had to rely on the two birds behind it to buff it up enough to be able to hold the sword in its hand. Try the swordsmanship inheritance skill that fuses me and the Beast King's bloodline. Nguyen Lo's eyes glowed just like the Phoenix and Death Spirit's eyes, showing that the combination had been successful. She used all her strength to push a pillar of light as tall as several buildings to the dark dragon dog, showing him how the golden yellow dragon touched. At this point, Tabin smiled arrogantly. To be honest, this attack is so beautiful that I won't make fun of you anymore. Instead, to pay homage to this extremely laborious and time-consuming move to create visual effects, Tabin will let the dark dragon dog use all his strength to continue this move. The move Tabin is talking about is the seal engraved with the number 773 Thunderpath, the fierce killing field bestowed upon the dark dragon dog upon completing the tribulation, helping its defense to only increase and increase to an unimaginable level. Having just been sent into battle by Tabin, his black dog happily rushed forward, releasing its fierce lightning and the protection of the wind, the protection of the earth, and all the armor it had. Gathered into a hard membrane. Rushing into the tundra, Nguyen Lo's extremely lustful royal move. Although compared to the size of Nguyen Lo's move, it can be seen that it is many times larger, but only the blade part is in direct contact. Nguyen Lo tensed her buttocks, screaming loudly, pushing her sword harder. Use all your strength to cut this black dog's barrier in half. The two opposing forces made the space inside the tower unbearable and radiated outside. From the foot of the tower, you could see several jets of black dog energy flying in the air, and rumbling sounds like a big storm was coming. Nguyen Than's group looked up at the explosive power above and praised it. The momentum radiating from the tower was so powerful that the entire Dragonbone Tower shook for several times. It is true that she is Nguyen Than's granddaughter, able to create such a powerful attack, not inferior to the best title-level battle pets. Nguyen Than and the group of people stood here waiting for a long time, waiting for Tabin to come out and join the group to avoid the habit of touching his territory. Behind the old group of subordinates, Nguyen Lo confidently entered the ranks of legend-level people at a very young age, and the Nguyen family continued to prosper. The yellow pole's winged cauldron collided with the barrier of the dark dragon dog for a while and finally had results. Hearing a deafening crash, the outer protective layer shattered. Immediately, Nguyen Lo's sword continued to collide with the inner layer, causing cracks to appear on its surface. Having come here, why should I give up? Nguyen Lo used all his strength, shouted fiercely and pushed the sword even harder. The dark dragon dog's barrier was indeed broken under her power, but the sword also broke into pieces. Nguyen Lo's eyes were white, blank and full of regret. She had broken through the barrier, and was only a little closer to touching the dark dragon dog. But it was the strongest thing she had, and could only break through the black dog's protection. Nguyen Lo sadly realized that her abilities were far inferior to Tabin and his pet. Now that side makes an attack, there is definitely no way for her to block it. So in the second battle, Tabin reported, the inheritance was passed to the black dog. With the dark dragon dog's VIP barrier, the second contest ended with the final result in favor of Tabin. Nguyen Lo tried her best to get there, but had to sit on the floor in frustration, not accepting the truth. Then Phuong Tu Lin was worried that his mistress was sad, so together with the six-headed tea-faced head, he rubbed his head against her body to comfort her. Although old Long Vong could not bear it, he still had to declare that Tabin had become the heir. Silently healing with spiritual energy to heal Nguyen Lo. Seeing that the pink-haired girl was still looking down and extremely depressed, he still had to ask again to follow the rules, whether she had the heart to obey or not. Lao's question fell silent for a long time. Nguyen Lo clutched her dress tightly, catching the falling tears. If today Tabin was not inspired to run to Long Kot Thap to take the inheritance position, surely Nguyen Lo would be fully capable of sitting in that chair. So even if you use all your strength, you can only break the protective layer of the dark dragon dog, knowing that your strength is truly inferior to others. But no matter how convinced Nguyen Lo was, her mouth still opened to curse, yet she lost to this evil, perverted name. Not willing but knowing what to do now, his black dog didn't even have a single hair flying. How could Nguyen Lo touch even a corner of Tabin's shirt? Tabin indifferently looked at the girl acting out a tragic scene. He is not a foolish man. When he saw a girl crying, he said, "Okay, come here, I'll give up my position." He hadn't even given a single punch yet, but he was already very patient, remaining silent to see if she was about to leave or not. Who would have thought that Nguyen Lo thought about it, held the sword to his neck, and mumbled in tears. Grandfather and his incompetent granddaughter made him ashamed. It was as if she lived only to make the Nguyen family look good. The inheritance that everyone had poured their heart and soul to support was now unattainable. Nguyen Lo couldn't bear it and wanted to die. Tabin stared at the scene before her eyes, wondering why just like that she couldn't stand it. It's just a hereditary position, what if it's lost? Having been born into a family with a rich family background, being an ordinary young lady, living comfortably through the day doesn't mean anything. Previously, someone committed suicide in front of Tabin because he could not overcome the guilt and expectations of others. He suddenly remembered Than Fong, the level 9 god who suffered a terrible shock right before he waited for his turn in the high god realm. He braced himself on the top of the mountain, receiving the lightning that brightened his glorious moment. Tried her best to become her mother's pride but completely failed. Everyone was excited about his heroic performance, believing he would make things happen, but in just a few minutes the dark clouds had dissipated. Although his life is still there, he is no longer a highly cultivated person but just an ordinary person. Unable to bear the fact that he had gone from being an acclaimed person to an incompetent chicken, the god of wind stuck a knife into his heart, vanishing like a breeze into nothingness. I don't know if he will return to his mother or not, but the image of Than Fong committing suicide on the stage is cruelly imprinted into Bin's mind. At that time, he was still thanking the system for protecting him from the beginning. Without its guidance, he was afraid that Tabin would also turn into ashes. Having gone through many ups and downs and many times of life and death, for Tabin now it is no longer a matter of whether he is famous or not. The limbs are still intact, the body is still completely healthy, so why destroy yourself? He did not allow that to happen, so he rushed to prevent Nguyen Lo from committing suicide. But after being beaten and slashed by hundreds of uncles for so long, and not knowing how to pity the flower or regret the pearl, instead of running over, holding the sword in his hand to stop the girl from finding a way to die, and then gently advising her like the brothers in the story. Indian movie, Tabin rushed forward and kicked Nguyen Lo, wanting to vomit blood. Moreover, he didn't even bother to control the strength of his legs, causing her to roll around on the ground several times like a roll of toilet paper dropped on the ground. This guy won the battle, what else does he want? Why does he hate me so much that he kicks me so hard? Nguyen Lo stood up and hugged the place where Tabin had stepped on them. They were still smoking, there was still blood running from the corner of her mouth. She stammered and asked in anger, "What are you doing?" The old Dragon King saw that Tabin was not there. Murderous. He just wanted to stop Nguyen Lo so he didn't intervene, but he still regretted that he had just finished healing his wounds and had just eaten a kick from Tabin's blood. As for the culprit, he didn't blush at all, calmly, as if he didn't say a single sentence without beginning or end. I had sworn to use my power well. Nguyen Lo didn't understand what he said. If you want to use your power well, use it yourself, or use it well by kicking her. Bin did not answer Nguyen Lo's series of questions, just let her know that he opened a pet store, so he was not pleased with the young girl's behavior of throwing away pets. If she died, it would be just a small thing, but who knows, the god Phoenix Death Spirit will become crazy and turn into a ferocious beast. And the attack on the city base will turn into a big deal? When you die, you'll stop thinking about it. Nguyen Lo looked at Bin's back and felt so bitter. He just kept giving a stupid reason and then kicked people into the ground like that? What he said just now is all Bin's capital, that's all he can explain. If not convinced, then go home and practice to improve your strength. By the way, don't forget to flex our store's pet training service, which is top-notch. You can always bring it to us whenever you want. The two young children did not give in to anyone, especially Nguyen Lo, coughing and cursing, who would want to come into your store. Only if they have a dog they would look for you to train them. That's what you don't know, but it's true that Bin's store trains a lot of genuine dogs. Old Dragon King saw that the two of them were missing only a duck, forming a market. He didn't want to get involved, so he quietly opened the space and summoned 6 or 3 drops of blood to fly in circles on his hand. I would like to respectfully introduce that these are the 3 drops. Blood products.